Hello, my friend. So, when you get triggered, what do you do about it? What happens when you get triggered? We're going to talk about those questions today because we all get triggered. And this just happened earlier today. So, this morning I was doing some of my finances, and in the past, I am open to this being different, but in the past, math has not been my strong suit, especially the simple math of like adding and subtracting. It's it hasn't been my strong suit for any of my life up to this point. I am open to getting better at it. So, um, I my husband and I do finances together, but I actually do most of the actual paying off investments and things like that, paying bills every month, things like that. So today I had an experience where I expected hundreds of dollars to be in my checking account after all the things that were purchased this last weekend. And I went in and I was in the negative by like $45 or something. I was in the negative, and I'm thinking, and I was immediately triggered. I immediately went into and I actually wrote down all the thoughts. I could tell you some of them because I write down my negative thoughts in a little notebook. Like, I am so done. I am so mad at myself. How could I make such a miscalculation? I hate how reliable I am. I I hate how I make financial mistakes. Um, oh my gosh, I'm so mad at myself and yada yada yada. Anyway, I was so mad that as I was writing my negative thoughts about it, I went through multiple sheets of paper. I was so mad. So I'm going to show you. So for the podcast listeners, I will explain this as I go. If you're watching this on YouTube, on my blog, on my website, or on YouTube, my YouTube channel, then you can see this. So I'm going to draw a stick figure, a little bit thicker stick figure because we want to, I'm not the greatest artist. I'm really not. Okay, so anyway, this is us. Okay, all right. So, um, I've got kind of a stick figure here. So when we have experiences that are hard negative experiences, we have a choice. And a lot of people don't know that they have this choice and they don't necessarily take advantage of it. We have a choice whether to let it roll off our back or to get rid of it or to take it in. Some things that are easier, they're easier to let roll off our back. The hard things, those are the ones that we really have to make the choice. Okay, am I going to actually do something to get this outside of me, to get this out of me? Or am I going to harbor it? Am I going to listen to it over and over and over again? Am I going to berate myself or judge myself? A lot of the things that we hold on to have an element of judging ourselves, judging others, blaming ourselves. And sometimes we hold on to those things because we feel like they are real, they are right, they are true. And so we hold on to them. When we hold on to them, I'm drawing little dots inside this person, this stick figure person, putting little dots all over inside this person. So, and in our head, in our torso, and our legs. So there's all these dots, okay, inside the stick figure of representing these things that we're holding on to still, that we haven't let go of. And when we have a new experience, some kind of new thing like I experienced this morning, which it was that much harder because it's happened before that I miscalculated. So it wasn't even, it was big. So what happens is, because it has happened before, I already had some of that stored inside that I hadn't gotten rid of. Some feelings of financial failure energy. Like, I'm not good at this. Why am I being trusted to do this? I am not trustworthy. I'm not reliable. I make too many mistakes and we have to pay for them. Things like that were already stored. So I'm drawing an arrow from the left to the right and going through the stick figure. So as we go, as this experience goes through us, and if we hit a couple of these dots, see this dot was really big. Maybe because we've experienced that, in my case, financial mistakes in calculations over and over and over again. Then when that hit this morning, it was immediate and it was big. It was powerful. And it wasn't like if it had happened for the first time. It was the confusion. It was the initial confusion of what happened here, and then the realization of what happened, and all of this stuff that I had been holding on to blew up inside of me. I was so mad. I was so mad at myself. I was even mad at God for a little while until I started writing, and I'm like, oh, I can't be mad at God for that. It's not his fault that I made that mistake. But sometimes we go into defensiveness and we go into, okay, who can I blame outside of me? Because it hurts too much to admit that I made that mistake again. And what does that say about me? That judgment is pretty rough when we judge ourselves that harshly. So sometimes we reach out in, who can I blame? And it's a subconscious thing. We don't really think about it. We just think, oh, who's to blame for this? Please let it not be me. And so when we have experiences and we haven't yet let go of something inside us, then we're triggered. If you've heard that word before, that's when we are triggered. And sometimes it can be an out of control feeling. The feeling can be super magnified. And that's because you already have some of that energy inside of you. And so when you have that experience pass through you, you've already got some of that energy inside. And so it like blows up whatever you had already stored in there, plus the experience itself in the present. And so it's big, and it feels like a huge blow up. It feels like it's really, really big. And it, like this morning, I was so mad that it felt like a bomb had gone off inside me and was much bigger than my whole body. Like the anger, the frustration, the fear, the feelings of failure, the self-judgment was so big and immediate. So that's definitely a trigger. So that's what happens when we get triggered. And that's why we're triggered. Otherwise, if it's just happening for the first time, it's not so much a trigger. It's just not a very great experience. It's we might be feeling those judgments for the first time, because that was the first time we had made a mistake like that. Or if somebody else did something and we didn't let go of it, we didn't forgive, and they did it again, then it makes it that much bigger, right? And even when we forgive, sometimes we have to choose to forgive and forgive and forgive and forgive. And we are forgiven like that. The Lord forgives us. I don't know how, like an ultimate, like infinite amount of times. And so he asks us to forgive again and again and again, because we're human. We make mistakes all the time. We require being forgiven. And most of all, it does something for us when we let go of this energy. We're not holding on to it. It doesn't hurt us so much. When we hold on to it, it hurts. over time, it gets bigger and bigger and we get more and more cluttered up. It only hurts us. It doesn't hurt the person anymore. It hurts us. Maybe it never did hurt the person. They might not even know we're holding on to it. So what do we do? What do we do to let go of this? Well, I'm going to show you, for those of you who are watching the video, and I'll describe it for you podcast listeners. I have a notebook here. I've got this red notebook, and it's just the kind that you can just go get at the store for 35 cents. And this is what I wrote today. I was, and this wasn't even my little notebook that I wrote all of the crap on, but this is what I write every day, and this helps me. So this notebook, what I do is I write all the frustrations and irritations that I have. Frustrations and irritations are pretty easy to find. They're on the daily. They're things that happen all the time because we live in this mortal world. There's a ton of frustrations and irritations that happen. And so those are kind of on the surface. And so I write those and whatever else comes that's connected to them, because the clutter inside of us is connected by the feelings that we have. So you can often think about, what are all the things that are overwhelming right now? What are all the things that are frustrating right now? They're lumped together. It's easy to make a list. All the things that I'm overwhelmed about. Oh, let me tell you. Doop, 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 doop. You can, list off 10 or 12 things right off the bat, right? So that is what I do to help me to emotionally declutter. It's a practice. I write every day for 10 minutes. Every day. And sometimes it's all toxic stuff. It's all garbage. I call it garbly-gook. It's like yucky. And sometimes it's all that. When it's all that and it's just toxic stuff, then I rip it out and I rip it up and I throw it in the garbage. I call it a write and rip. Okay. And when I'm writing and some wisdom comes, then I keep it, because the wisdom is that valuable to me. So sometimes it's nice to be able to see what I was writing and then the response to it. And this response, I trust, is God. Sometimes it's my intuition, the little voice inside speaks God's words. That's my connection to God. So either way, I'm getting his guidance for me. And so when I receive that wisdom as I'm writing, then I tend to keep those, because I really desire to have his words for me. That it's like personal scripture for me, right? So that's what I do. It's super, super simple. And often the most simple things are the most profound, have the most profound results if we will do them. So I would encourage you, if you desire to declutter and be less triggered in your daily life, I encourage you to write and get it outside of you. It's a great way to declutter. I hope this was helpful. We'll see you next time. Take care.